Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening around the world. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Blackjack. As always, today I will be doing a deck tech. If you're interested in having me build a deck for you, or perhaps give you some ideas on changes or tweaks that you'd like to make to a current deck, as always, I'm looking for any of the following metrics in the comments section: a bracket, a commander, a theme, a budget, and any pet cards or other restrictions you have. So if you're interested, leave a comment down below and I'll build one for you. Today, we're going to be looking at a deck that I built for myself. So I've actually recently taken apart Shorakai as I'm starting to play Commander in different play groups and start to grasp the bracket system a little bit better and understand 1 through 5 and what that really means and the power level of those brackets and the potential. I'm realizing that looking back at all of the decks I have, the 11 that I originally had that I started this channel with, at least recently, I've decided to make a few changes. I've decided to go down to 10 decks, and I'm going to have 3 bracket 2, 3 bracket 3, 3 bracket 4, and then 1 CDH deck. So that way, when I sit down at any table, I'll be apt and able to have fun, play a variety of things and a variety of game plans, while still being able to keep up with any power level that I'm facing. So I've decided to kind of reconstruct Shorakai into Breya and tick it up a notch into bracket 4. So as you can see, there's a lot of game changers. There's an extra turn card. There's a ton of tutors. This deck in general, I would say, is a lot meaner than Shorakai. It's a lot more focused in what it wants to do and how it's going to win the game. I do plan to make a ton of changes to the deck. This is just my personal first iteration with the cards that I already owned. I didn't want to order anything for this, at least not yet. I want to test out everything that I have and make changes as I go. So that being said, we can get started. Again, I'm playing Breya, which is Sans Green, every color but green. I'm sure you know what she does, but as she enters, you get to create 2 Thopters with flying, and then you can pay 2 mana to sack 2 artifacts to have it deal 3 damage to a player or planeswalker, give a creature -4/-4, or gain 5 life. So we are going to be utilizing her in conjunction with a lot of the cards here in order to combo out. Our Wincon, more often than not, is going to be making infinite creatures, infinite mana, drawing our entire deck, and then dealing infinite damage. So, we start with the Planeswalker section. I've always been a really big fan of Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas, and pretty much just Tezzeret in general. So I tried to jam all the good ones that I could in here. Again, this deck I would say is like 75% optimized, ready to win the game, and then 25% cards that I'm just not willing to let go of that I either really, really like or I think are at least worth trying before I replace. So Tezzeret, all 3 of them are going to basically, we're going to utilize them to draw cards and or look at the top X cards for artifacts and or create Thopters or turn stuff into creatures. So they all do kind of the same thing in different ways, but it's all just card advantage at the end of the day for me. Shorakai does an amazing and effective job at card advantage. Breya does not offer you that, so you have to be able to generate cards in other ways. Creature package, we have Emery for a little bit of casting from the graveyard. We have Goblin Engineer and Goblin Welder in order to tutor. Illustrious Wanderglyph, this is one of those cards I'm not ready to let go of from Shorakai yet. I think it can win the game on its own. I think it's extremely powerful and it looks cool, so I just want to play it. Liberator as well as Shimmermere are both going to allow us to cast our artifacts as though they had flash. Mirror Retriever and Scrap Trawler are going to get stuff out of the graveyard for us. We have Phyrexian Metamorph, which can be anything. Sai is going to create Thopters when we cast an artifact. We have Tribute as well as Trinket Mage. So Tribute is probably always going to be finding Isochron Scepter in order to close the game out. And then Trinket Mage can find a variety of things, a Sensei's Top, a Soul Ring, really whatever the game is calling for at that moment. Urza, Lord High Artificer, extremely powerful card. It is a way for us to actually win. If we do create infinite mana, then you can just activate Urza a bajillion times. And then Walking Ballista is another way for an unbounded amount of mana to just take the table out in one go. Sorceries, we have Dam, one of my favorite removal spells slash board wipes in these colors. Fabricate and Reshape in order to tutor up specific artifacts again. And then Savine's Reclamation to buy stuff back from the graveyard in case it gets destroyed. Instance, we have Counterspell, and we have, as far as removal, Dispatch, Swords to Plowshares, and Path to Exile are all going to be ways for us to essentially get the same effect, but we have 3 versions of it. Dovin's Veto is our other counterspell in addition to Mana Drain. Mana Drain in a deck like this can be really great or kind of useless. I'm not sure how it's going to play out yet. There are a lot of pips and restrictions of color throughout the deck, but I think it's going to be good enough, and we're going to play so many artifacts that have no specific color cost that it's going to be worthwhile and potentially lead to like really breaking early starts for us. Enlighten Tutor is another way for us to obviously tutor up a specific win con like Isochron Scepter. Dramatic Reversal is the win condition alongside Isochron Scepter. So once you play Isochron Scepter, you imprint Dramatic Reversal, and then as long as you're able to create 3 mana, you can net positive every time you activate Isochron Scepter, and then it untaps itself. So that is going to be the main way that we're going to generate an unbounded amount of mana. We have Teferi's Protection as a way for us to obviously save our board from like a Vandal Blast. And then finally in this section we have War of Invention as another way for us to tutor specific things. I would say, as far as Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal, one thing that I am already considering is Muddle the Mixture. It's an interesting way for us to transmute in order to go and get either of these pieces as well as be a counterspell. So this is definitely in contention, and in my mind it's kind of in the same spot as Mana Drain. I'm not positive which one I want yet. I want to see how big of a payoff Mana Drain gives me before I replace it with Muddle, but if you're interested in building a deck like this, I would definitely keep that in mind, and for now I'll put it in the sideboard. Artifacts, obviously this is the main section. We're playing a ton of ramp. We have Arcane Signet, we have Azorius, Boros, Dimir, Felwar Stone, Izzet Signet, Mox Opal, Orzhov Signet, Rakdos Signet, Soul Ring is 10, Talisman of Conviction, Talisman of Creativity, Talisman of Dominance, Hierarchy, Indulgence, and Progress. So I believe by my count is 15 or 16 pieces of ramp, and the reason it's so heavy is, one, we get paid for playing a lot of these artifacts with things like Sai as well as Emery to get them back, and 2, it's extremely important that we get Breya out in order to help us push our game plan along as fast as possible, and or things like our Tezzerets, things like our Urza. If we can get to 4 or 5 mana on turn 3 consistently, I think it's going to allow us to get in a winning position, and in a position where we can kind of control the board on our way to winning the game. Isochron Scepter we've mentioned a bunch of times. This is going to be the main win con. We have Lightning Greaves as well as Swiftfoot Boots to protect. We have, let's see, Sensei's Divining Top is just going to be a cool way for us to sift through the top and find the best card. Shorikai, I ended up moving from its own deck list into here. I think it's still a fantastic way to draw cards, and to be honest, I think Shorikai is a better commander in a vacuum than Breya. That's, I would imagine, pretty uncontested, pretty inarguable, but I did want to add red and I did want to add black in order to have access to a few other pieces and see if it actually makes it more consistent. There is a world where this deck does go back to Shorakai though. Simulacrum Synthesizer, build an army in a can. Sword of the Meek is going to be another win condition alongside Thopter Foundry. So this is a way to create an unbounded amount of tokens to gain a ton of life, to use things like Time Sieve to take multiple turns and set up a situation where you're essentially taking an infinite amount of turns to close the game out. So this would definitely be the secondary win condition. We have the One Ring, obviously great in any commander deck. I would not put this in a bracket 3 or lower deck, but I think in a bracket 4 deck it's perfectly serviceable. Plus this is an artifact themed deck, so it totally makes sense here to me. Thousand Moon Smithy is another super great engine piece that I'm bringing over from Shorakai and I want to try out. Unwinding Clock, obviously amazing in any artifact deck. It goes without saying you should be playing it. And then finally in enchantments we have Smothering Tide and Thopter Spy Network. Both speak for themselves and what they're going to provide for the deck. So again, I think Muddle the Mixture is the biggest piece that I'm considering adding right now. I used to play things like Darksteel Citadel in my Shorakai deck to give all my artifacts indestructible. I don't think it's necessary here because I'm much lower to the ground, but this is just a starting point. There's a good chance I'll reduce the ramp by 1 or 2 or 3 pieces to add other pieces, but I want to see how consistently getting Breya out on turn 3 matters and how much it's actually going to impact and change the dynamic of the game for me. So for lands, notable ones, I'm playing Academy Runes, I'm playing Inventor's Fair, and I'm playing Urza Saga. Those are the 3 most notable ones. Obviously, you can tailor this to your budget. These are just the lands that I had available to me and I wanted to utilize. So, I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is built to be lean, mean. It's a machine. Obviously, it's bracket 4. You're not going to make friends with this deck. You're going to win the game. But I think at the end of the day, that's what bracket 4 is trying to do. If you're interested in keeping up with the changes that I make, or if this goes back to Shorakai or whatever, just keep an eye on the Mox field and follow along with the journey. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and Godspeed.